Hi everyone, let's make some games. This is part 4 of a tutorial series about the Npc Kit in the core platform. In the previous videos, we looked at the basics of NPCs, as well as combat and how to create custom NPCs. In this video, we're taking a look at level design and the use of spawn camps. For this video, I went ahead and created a new game and a basic environment using the terrain editor. It has a starting point for the player, a road that leads to some NPC spawns, as well as a boss area. The rest of the map isn't developed yet. We're going to focus on these few locations and you can imagine what the rest might look like. Now because this is a new project, we have to import the NPC Kit again. Go to Community Content, NPC Kit, most downloaded, import. Now folks have commented that if you follow these steps exactly, it's not going to work because I'm the author of this kit, and when you're the creator of the community content piece, it appears different for you. It appears in the My Shared Content, and the user interface is a little bit different. So I've created a dummy account to show what the process looks like for you. From here, you can add one of the examples. This is the ambush camp. And then in the project content section, you will now see in imported content, the NPC Kit and the dependencies. You can bring in the combat dependencies and everything else. Back in our main project, let's take a look at that ambush camp I just mentioned. So this is a type of NPC spawn camp. It is right here in templates. Should also add the combat dependencies. Let's hit play, see what happens. Spawn camps are a really common way of incorporating NPCs into a game. They work well for a multiplayer game where players can join and leave at any time. The next thing I want to do is go back to my part 3 of the series where I had created the raptors and bring the raptors into this project. So I'm going to save it first. And here are the raptors that were created in the previous video. I'm just going to select all the objects that are in the hierarchy, the 3 raptors and the static player equipment that has the crossbow we created. So if you select and copy, it'll bring all the dependencies. Back in our main project, we can just click right here and paste, and it'll bring all that we need. For example, if I hit play, there we have the crossbow. But the raptors, they're here under the world. We can delete them. They appear in our template project now. We have the medium, the hard, and the regular raptor. And one of these comes with the kit, and we can check the collider to see which one is the correct one, which we fixed in the previous video. So yeah, we want to delete this one right here. First one on the list. Next, let's customize the spawn camp so that it has the right level of difficulty. Here's the spawn camp. We can select it. The instance, and we modify which NPCs spawn by modifying these points right here. The custom properties that appear right here are the templates that will be spawned. So if there's 2, that means that it will randomly pick between those 2. We want to delete all of them. We can actually get rid of this 3rd spawn point right there. We just want 2 spawn points for this camp. Now let's hit F to focus, and we want to make sure that we're that it's right lined up with the ground. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps. Right there. Now we just want these to spawn the basic raptor. So with the templates and the project content showing, and raptor is inserted here, we select the 2 points and we just drag the RPG raptor right there into this area, and it becomes a custom property. Now we'll hit shift and equals to spawn in place. When we enter the camp, it should spawn the 2 raptors. There we go. Now you can see, let's do that one more time. You can see that one of the raptors is pointing backwards when we enter the camp. Watch. That's because the spawn point indicates the direction that he's facing. So we can rotate this. And here the NPC Kit uses this gun placeholder to indicate direction. It's just a visual cue. At runtime during the game this doesn't appear. This is just for editing. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Now they both face the direction and we can fight them. Now in terms of balance, they probably have a little bit too much health. So we can bring the raptor here into the hierarchy just for editing purposes. We lower the health to 100. And we update. I can delete it. Now when we spawn, they should have much less health. Easier to defeat. Let's take a closer look at the ambush camp and see how it works. You see this trigger right here? This is the inside trigger. There's also this outside trigger. It's this larger one. And for this particular encounter, I think we want to change the type from box to sphere. The inside trigger, it was what causes the NPCs to spawn when the player enters. So when the player enters this area, they spawn. And then they'll chase you around until you exit the outside trigger. So when you exit this area, they will give up and return to where they started. So you can adjust the dynamics of the spawn camp by tweaking the position of these triggers and the size as well. Scale these up and down to adjust how they work. You can change the type. You can change it to be a rectangle if that's what works better. The next step is to take this camp, duplicate it, we're going to move it over here. We're going to put it in this other location, and then we're going to put more difficult NPCs in this one. So we have a new camp. Position it, rotate it. There we go. One thing that I do want to call out is how the scripts are organized here. There are two scripts. One is called the NPC spawner, and the other one is called the NPC camp behavior. And this camp behavior, player proximity. I encourage people who are programming inclined to investigate these. The separation is really important. The spawner script is responsible for the spawning and the despawning. If the player gets too far away and the time runs out on the camp, then it'll de-instance, it'll destroy the NPCs that are here, because now the player is off doing something else in the game. And that conserves resources. Now the behavior script, that defines the protocol of when to spawn and when to despawn. And the NPC, the spawner script is responsible for the memory management aspects. So it's an important separation, because for your particular game, if it's different, it has a specific logic that you're looking for, you would write a custom behavior script, but you can leverage this script right here without having to rewrite the whole spawning system from scratch. You can use that, you can create a new behavior and modify one of the existing behaviors. There's a few different behaviors that come in the kit. Of note, this whole idea of inside trigger and outside trigger are part of the behavior script, not part of this one. Now let's modify this camp to spawn more difficult minions. So right now they just spawn the raptors, the two easy raptors, but let's duplicate one of these spawn points. We'll move that over here. Should position these a little bit better as well. There we go. And this one will actually be in the back. Put that one in the back. And these other two in front. The one in the back is going to spawn the medium difficulty. The blue raptor. This one right here. We can replace the one that's there. If you put multiple copies, then it'll randomly, multiple custom properties will randomly pick one of them. Let's hit play and test this, just this one camp out. See how it works. There we go. When we exit the outside trigger, they return. So this can be a kiting strategy for the player. This is where you have to be careful when you're designing the level and how you want the triggers to behave. So it's not too easy or too hard. The last thing I want to do for this map is add the boss in the ice area over here. So have a look at this boss area. This is just some snow that I painted with the terrain tool. And these are just rocks with ice material on them. And there's already this interesting decal right here. And we could put the red raptor here, but there's a ice elemental in one of the frameworks that I want to grab and I want to import that over. So let's do that. First step is to save it. Create a new project from frameworks. This one called Dungeon Crawler. Click that. You can call it whatever. We're just gonna grab the elemental from there. So we create a new project, and I do encourage people to investigate this project. Maybe I'll make a video about this in the future. It's a really cool template, really cool framework. Here in the templates, there is the ice elemental. Here's the NPC. You can drag that guy in. Appears here in the hierarchy. Cool looking. I'll just copy that. Go back over to our main game. We paste. Same thing we did with the raptors. So we paste that in, then we delete it. Now it appears in our templates. Let's duplicate the ambush camp. And I'm going to show you a trick. So we move over to the boss area over here. You can imagine there's a road with lots of encounters on the way and maybe some secrets and some treasures and stuff. So there's a lot that can be done in this map. So we come over here, we have the object we want to move over here selected, we right click, say move. There we go. Now obviously we don't want these bushes and this decal, we already have a pretty cool decal. So we'll go here into this decorations folder. We can just delete the whole thing. Now the spawn points themselves, we just want one spawn point in the middle. And this is going to spawn our boss. Let's adjust the triggers. Press V to show it. Now we want to spawn the boss when the player enters. How much sooner? Around here. The outside trigger, we can make that a sphere as well. Kind of like that. And you can fine tune it for your game. And then the spawn point, instead of the raptor, it's going to spawn the ice elements. Let's hit play and see. No, use the trick with shift equals, so we spawn in place here. And let's see if it spawns the ice element. There we go. For outdoor environments, they're very open, it works great. However, if you want to make an indoors game, you need to add the navigational mesh. But that's a topic for another video. To catch this whole series without missing any video, make sure to subscribe. See you next time.